Hello, everyone. It's me, Amanda, with Once in a Wild, and it is Monday. Happy Monday to everybody. Hopefully you got through your Monday okay. And if you're still going through your Monday, it's almost over, so you're going to be just fine. And it is 3:30 p.m. Central Time. You know what time that is. It's time for our live stream here at Once in a Wild. So welcome, everyone. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If this is your 100th time watching, well, we haven't done 100, but if this is not your first time, welcome back. We love to see newcomers and frequent flyers, if you will, here at Once in a Wild. We are doing our live streams every Monday and Friday now at 3:30 p.m. Central, and we are based right here in San Antonio, Texas. So that is where we are. And just to give you a little bit of information about me and our company, my name is Amanda, and our company is Once in a Wild Animal Encounters. And what we do normally is we bring the zoo to you. Now, what does that mean? Well, we're basically a mobile zoo. So we can bring our animals that we have that are program animals, they're outreach animals, they're education animals, and they are animal ambassadors for each and every one of their species. We have about 65 to 70, depending on how many bugs we have at the time. Some of our bugs actually do have babies sometimes. So anywhere from 65 on up, animal ambassadors at this time. And those are the animals that can go to you if you have a classroom of kids and want to learn about animals. I know the school year is almost over. We are doing Zoom room classes right now instead of going in person, of course. We can't really do that right now. But that's why we're also doing the live streams. So on a normal basis, we would bring the zoo to classrooms, to nursing homes for animal therapy sometimes, and hospitals. We might bring them to birthday parties at your own home or wherever you choose to have your birthday party at. And we can also bring them to offices and your place of business or wherever you want. The cool thing about us is we can go almost anywhere to bring animals to you to kind of basically supplement your event or just bring animals over for you guys to enjoy. And that is what we do. So we are based in education. So I always try to give some kind of educational presentation with our animals, but we also are based in animal therapy as well as just having fun. So we're not only educational, but we're a lot of fun and hopefully therapeutic sometimes too for you guys. I hope you guys are getting through these hard times right now okay, and we're doing our best that we can as well, and that's why we're bringing the zoo to you in a virtual way, not just here with our live streams, which again are every Monday and Friday right now at 3:30 p.m. Central, so it's time for our Monday show, hooray! But we're also doing Zoom room animal encounters too. So the Zoom rooms are a little bit different. They do cost something. They're not free like the live streams. The live streams are free, as of course, like all live streams are. So that's pretty cool. So we're doing those twice a week, like I said, but the Zoom rooms are fully custom. You can call me and get more information on that. You're going to have to schedule those, of course, and then you get to pick the animals that you want to attend in your private Zoom room. And it's really fun because I get to see all your faces and everything and answer questions to your face as opposed to on here. Now, what's really cool about the live streams here is that, hi, Samantha, is that I can actually highlight your questions and talk to you through, I can talk, but you guys can actually ask your questions through comments. And same thing on Instagram. So we're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live, and we're on Instagram as well. I always try to stream on Instagram too, of 1 hour. So if I end up going over time, I'll just start again, as you guys know that have seen my live streams before. If I get cut off, whatever, I'll just start over. And on Facebook and YouTube, luckily they don't cut me off. I can go as long as I want. And if you guys know me, I can talk a long time about what we do and about our animals. As usual, we've brought 3 species of animals to enjoy today and to learn about. One species is actually going to be kind of a surprise. Number one, I kind of keep it for last. And it's also an animal that has never been in the studio before. So that's pretty exciting. So we're going to see what happens. It's an animal that may or may not participate. And if it doesn't participate, that's okay. That's what we call animal training and positive reinforcement. And they're going to get the opportunity to come join us. And if they don't, okay, that's okay. We're not going to force our animals to do anything, right? We don't do that, but we'll get to that at the end. Now, by the way, of course, our live streams are free and we're happy to provide our live streams to the public, but we do appreciate donations. So you can donate in 2 different specific ways. Over on Venmo, you can actually donate directly with whatever amount you choose to want to give to us. Any little amount actually helps. And of course, every amount helps during these hard times. We are normally based on public presentations and public events, and we can't do public events right now, so we've had to transition over to Zoom events and virtual live streams instead. So for the live streams, they're free, but we definitely appreciate any tips. Our Venmo information is down below if you're on Facebook or YouTube. It's right down here, and that is at Once in a Wild. That's how you can find us on Venmo. If you have any questions, just contact me over here on this number. That is my direct number if you guys want to text or call me anytime. And onceinawild.com is our website. Speaking of onceinawild.com, that is one other way you can actually donate to our cause. We have a specific way over on that website, onceinawild.com. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom and click that box that says donate. That will take you to our Amazon wish list, which is a really fun way to give us gifts and gifts to the animals, actually. So those gifts that we have chosen specifically, items that we need. Hi, Donna. And we have basically selected a bunch of wish list items on the Once in a Wild wish list, and you can select the items and ship them to our door, which is really, really convenient and very, very much appreciated. I always try to highlight those gifts as well, either in a post or say thank you in some kind of way, like a little live stream on Instagram or Facebook. I'll open them and do a little unboxing, whether I take a photo or a video or something like that, depending on the time of day and things like that, whether or not I'm ready for a live program. If I get them at the end of the day and I'm already got my regular clothes on and everything, I'm not going to do a live stream, but I might take photos and thank everybody for their gifts. And I always appreciate anything and everything that you can get. So those are a couple of ways you can donate: Amazon wishlist and directly into Venmo. And of course, book your Zoom room animal encounter. Those are always really, really fun. I do recommend those. And we're actually going to go ahead and play you a little quick commercial on our Zoom rooms, which gives a lot more information on what they include. So let me go ahead and play that for you right now because it's really cute. We made a cute little commercial for you guys. Let's go ahead and share that, shall we? Make sure my volume is up because we had issues last time. Let's go ahead and play that. Stuck in the house with nothing to do? Did your students miss their fun field trip that was planned for them? Are you looking for a fun team building activity for your employees that are stuck in the house with the same old Zoom meetings from day in and day out? Was your child's birthday party canceled this year because you're stuck in quarantine? Well, have we got the solution for you? Our Zoom room animal encounters are a great solution for you. In Zoom room virtual animal encounters, we can bring the zoo to you, but from the safety of your own home. They are fully customizable, and you can invite all your friends to join in and meet all the animals. They are fun, unique, and very interactive. It's also a great learning opportunity. And most of all, it's very, very simple. Just contact us to book your appointment and schedule your Zoom room. Then select the animals you would like to attend in your Zoom room animal encounter, and then send the link to all of your friends and family who are invited to the Zoom room that we provide to your email. And best of all, we can bring the animals to anyone, anywhere, all over the world. So visit us at onceinawild.com or call us today. We can't wait to see you. Hooray! Isn't that exciting? So that's one other way that we can bring the zoo to you virtually. And they've been a lot of fun. They're great for classrooms, for birthday parties, for office visits, all kinds of stuff. So you guys let me know if you want your Zoom. My number is down right here. And for those of you on Instagram, you can message us on Instagram or go to onceinawild.com, and that's where you can find our number. I believe our number is also posted on all of our social media. And if it isn't, it should be. So that's the best way to contact me. You can text or call me. So hello, everybody checking in. Hello, Samantha. Thank you for loving our commercial. It's pretty fun. We did that commercial in one day, and it was pretty challenging, but we also got it out, and I think it's pretty cute. And thank you for tuning in. Hello, Donna, once again. If you guys want to tag all of your friends and family that you think would enjoy some of our encounters, that is very helpful to us as well. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I know I've been rambling on and on and on like I always do. You know me, I can talk forever. Let's go ahead and meet our first animal of the day. And she is one of my oldest animal friends. You guys might know her from before. Oh my goodness, she's huge. We'll let her settle down here. This is JoAnna, the green iguana. And she has been with me for about 10 years here in my care, even before Once in a Wild was a company. So she has been in my animal care, my personal care for a long, long time. So she started as a rescue. I actually was walking around a flea market one day in Florida. I used to live in Florida, long story short. And on Instagram, you guys can't see her because she's so big. Let me change the view here. So a long time ago, I used to live in Florida. I'm a Texas girl, but I used to live over there for a while. And I was walking around a flea market one day, and this girl was hanging out in a small tank. She was already an adult-sized iguana, so We have no idea how old she is. She was an abandoned pet, which happens unfortunately a lot with these guys. These guys oftentimes are purchased as a very, very small baby, and then people don't realize how large they can get. Now, this is a female green iguana. Her name is JoAnna, the iguana. And again, she's a green iguana, which is their species. The species scientific name is iguana, so they're kind of the original iguana, which is kind of cool. These guys are from Central and South America, mostly Central America. They are an arboreal species, meaning that they are tree-dwelling animal, and they get very sizable. She is a female, and females are about, I would say the male is about twice the size of a female weight-wise. Length-wise, the male is not twice the length from head to tail or anything like that, but weight-wise, he can be a lot larger than a female. So as you might imagine, when you get a little baby, and by the way, you can't tell boy from girl when they're small, they don't look any different, but once they get larger, they are what we call dimorphic, meaning they look different male from female. See her beautiful face. But she is a female. But I've had her for about 10 years. I picked her up, like I said, from that situation, which wasn't the best. The people there kind of got her from somebody that abandoned her, and they had like a little pet shop there in the flea market. They mostly sold birds, so they didn't really have a lot of reptile. And I think they just put her in a tank and were hoping that somebody would buy her. I offered a little bit of money, and they gave her to me on the spot. So I took her home that day, and the rest is history. I've had her for 10 years. And so I don't know her age. She could be, I mean, she's at least 12 because she had to have at least been 2 or 3 years old. So she could be anywhere from 12 to 15. She could already be 20 years old, which typically 20, 25 is going to be their life expectancy for this species. So I really don't know her age. I'm hoping that she's not that old because we want to keep her around, right? But she's been an awesome lizard for the 10 years that I've had her. She's pretty cool. So JoAnna the iguana. Now, these guys oftentimes, like I said, are purchased as a small baby for a pet, and either people don't understand their care or maybe they don't realize how big they get. They also tend to be a very aggressive and defensive species. I say aggressive and defensive because they can be defensive or aggressive. So they can be straight aggressive, kind of defending their territory, coming straight after you, or they can also be defensive, meaning that when you go to pick them up, they try to defend themselves. And how do green iguanas defend themselves? Well, they have a ton of ways to defend themselves. So a little bit about their natural way of being and their natural history. These guys are a tropical species from Central and South America. They mostly live in Central America, like I said, and they live in the trees most of the time. So as you might imagine, a big lizard like this needs a lot of room and a lot of climbing, perching, and things like that to live on and be comfortable climbing up on things. So she does have a great big large enclosure that she lives in outside most of the time here with me. And that's how I think I've kept her so healthy throughout the years, because getting natural sunlight is very important for iguanas too. Otherwise, you have to give them very, very, very good ultraviolet lamps and heat lamps as well to kind of mimic the sun. But the natural sunlight is always better. So if you have an iguana of your own, or you have any species of diurnal lizard like this, so diurnal means awake in the daytime. That means they have to sunbathe as a cold-blooded species, a reptile, right? They're going to have to sunbathe. And especially animals like iguanas that are tropical, they need a warm climate. They need moisture. So you have to go out there and hose them or give them some mist or give them a great big pool of water. They really like water. So my point is they need a lot of room. If you live in a warmer climate, like Florida, for example, Florida is a perfect environment for an iguana. I imagine the person that had her before probably kept her outside as well, because she did live as long as they had her and then decided to abandon her for whatever reason, whether it was changing their mind or whatever. But a lot of times people will get them as a small baby because they're very inexpensive. Most of these guys are either farmed or wild-caught specimens, which is why they're so inexpensive. I do not recommend getting a wild-caught animal if you don't know what you're doing. Wild-caught individual reptiles of any species tend to be a little bit more wild, so they're not as adapted to being in human care. They're not going to like you very much. They also might come with some health issues and things like parasites, and they may not eat very well, etc. So it's kind of risky when you buy them for so cheap, usually from pet stores and things. So I recommend, number one, never getting an iguana. This species, the green iguana, is a terrible pet. They get way too big for most people to take care of properly and have a large enough enclosure and the proper humidity and all the right food, right lighting, and they're also, like I said, they can be aggressive and defensive. So JoAnna, as you can see, is a pretty nice iguana. She's one of the nicest iguanas I've ever met, so I got really lucky. But she has her bad days too. In fact, she has bitten me before. She has tail whipped me before, and they have razor sharp claws. So out there in the wild, like I said, they're going to live up in the trees in the tropics. They're usually going to be up in the trees. They'll come down to the ground every now and then to get from tree to tree or whatever they need to do, or maybe go swimming in the water. They go swimming and get drinks and things. They might get their drinks off of the rainfall, though, off of the leaves that they eat. These guys are herbivores, so they eat the leaves of the trees, they eat the flowers in the trees, and they eat the fruits of the trees. So all of their house and their food come from the trees. So they are very reliant on trees to survive. So the best way we can help them out, actually, other than not taking them out of the wild where their home is actually lessening our usage of wood items and paper items. So when you guys use paper, you can recycle your paper or figure out where your paper is coming from and use less of it, of course. We want to reduce, reuse, and recycle when we can for anything. But paper ends up being, and wood ends up being the kind of the demise of these tropical rainforest type animals, because their forest home is being taken away for those items that we need from the trees, unfortunately. And of course, trees and oxygen are important for all animals anyway, so we should care about that. But these guys rely on the trees for shelter, for their home, and also for their food. That's what they eat. They are herbivores. Like I said, they eat leaves, flowers, fruits, things like that. And these guys will live up there, and they are not predators. Like I said, they are prey animals, actually. They're going to be herbivores. So their main predator ends up being animals like birds of prey. So eagles and hawks that live out there in South America, maybe even owls too. If these guys are sleeping in the nighttime, because they do sleep at night and they're awake in the day, they're diurnal like us. And if an owl, I guess, spots them, they might take them out of a tree as well. But birds of prey are going to be their main predator since they're up in the trees so high. So they're very defensive about that kind of thing. So if you go up to pick them up, their instincts might take over, and she's like, where's the bird of prey? Ah, saw that head movement. Where? Nowhere, sweetie. There's no birds of prey in here, sweetie. But I make myself laugh sometimes. But she is going to be defensive, or as a species, they're going to be defensive if you go grab them or pick them up sometimes. So what they'll do usually first is going to be use their tail. They do have a very, very long tail. You can't even see how long it is unless I stand up, I guess. You guys can see how long her tail is. It is super duper long. The tail itself is around 4 foot long. And the rest of her is another like 1.5 feet, I guess. And so altogether, you know, do your math. She's more than 5 foot long. She's a big lizard, huge. They need a lot of room, like I said. But they're going to first use their tail as a whip. They don't lose their tail as readily as like other animals like geckos and anoles and other animals that lose their tail, even like tegus and things like that. Those guys lose their tail if they have to for defense in emergency situations. These guys wouldn't lose their tail unless it really got caught in something or an animal just like totally ripped it off. And it doesn't grow back as readily as other lizards' tails. It's not going to be designed for that. So some of them do end up having a regrown tail, and we don't really understand why, because they're not an animal, again, that loses that tail readily for defense. So instead, they have a very strong tail in general, that's my point, and they're going to use it for a big bullwhip, and they're going to slap their predators in the face and try to defend themselves that way, or at least scare away their predator, right? And that might hurt. If they don't get away, then they're going to bite. These guys can bite very hard. They might be herbivores, but their mouth is full of razor sharp teeth. Very sharp. Their teeth are not very big, but they bite on and they go like this to basically tear off the leaves of the tree. So have you ever seen a shark eating its food? Of course, a shark doesn't eat leaves, but a shark will grab onto a food item and then go like that. And they will actually tear off a piece of food and eat it. That's how these guys treat leaves. They're going to basically tear off a piece and eat it. We can hold her like that. It's a little bit more comfortable. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. How's that? Can we hold you like this? Can we do that? It's kind of up to her. I'm holding her however she feels comfortable. As you can see, she started to move. So with the iguanas, since they don't like to be grabbed, you have to kind of let them kind of walk on you like that until they settle down. I'm just kind of letting her tell me when she's ready to settle down. These guys are a handful, though. They're hard to handle. They're not an easy lizard at all. They have really long nails. They have really big arms and hands and things. There she goes. She's fine now. But I'm trying to show you her beautiful face. So they'll use their teeth next to defend themselves, like many animals will bite for defense, right? And then if that doesn't work, they can also use their claws to scratch and try to defend themselves. Their claws are razor sharp. They're designed for climbing trees, like literally straight up a tree or whatever they want to climb. These guys are amazing climbing lizards. And their claws are very sharp. Like I said, I have just given her a mani-pedi today. So she got her spa treatment today. She even got a bath today too, because she was indoors overnight last night because it was chilly last night here in Texas. She's going to go back outside tonight. because it's going to be warm. I think the rest of the year, I hope, warm enough to keep her outside because she's so much happier out there. That's what they should be. They should be outside. That's where they should be. But yeah, all those things are going to help them to survive. They've even got spikes on their back. See the spikes? So those are modified scales on their back. On a male, they're going to be much taller and more impressive looking because, again, these guys are dimorphic in a lot of ways. Dimorphism means they look different from each other, male and female. And those spikes might even deter the foot of that bird of prey and tickle their feet and be like, "Ooh, I don't want to pick this up. That doesn't feel right." Now, usually that doesn't work because birds of prey have amazing feet and talons that can pick up these animals pretty easily. But all the rest of those things are really going to help. Maybe for other predators, that might deter them if they touch the back and they think, "Oh, that doesn't feel good. That kind of feels weird on my paws or my face," or whatever, the animal coming after her. Now, you guys aren't chiming in with very many questions yet. It's good to see everybody out here so far. So good. And those of you on Instagram, hello. Check out our iguana. She is so pretty. But these guys, again, because of all those reasons and their instincts to kind of defend themselves, and also males are very territorial. Females can be territorial too. She's acted that way sometimes seasonally, usually if it's warmer outside and she's like, "Hey, stay out of my territory." And you kind of have to just be like, okay. For male iguanas, you kind of have to train them to trust you, and females too. So they're very, very hard to work with, even for somebody like me that's been working with reptiles since I was young. They're very hard. They're not an easy pet at all. Hello, Jess. Nice to see you. A chill customer. She's a very good iguana, but don't be fooled. Iguanas are usually not that great. Now, there are other species of iguanas which are still considered to be like an advanced pet. But like the rock iguanas and rhino iguanas, those are a little bit more suited to being around people. There are individuals of those species, the other species of iguana, not the green iguana, that I think do much, much better in human care. They still need a ton of room. They need to be outside for natural light, etc. So it's definitely an advanced lizard, still a very large lizard, but they're not nearly as aggressive and defensive as the green iguana tends to be. Also, like I said, a green iguana is usually a wild-caught individual, so those babies tend to not do very well. So unless you get like just a really strong one that is just, doing really well and will probably have survived out in the wild too, you're probably going to, maybe lose that iguana. That would be the worst case scenario, right? Or they're just going to not do the best. It's just kind of a chance, right? That you're taking with a wild caught animal of any kind. I don't recommend any animals taken out of the wild for a pet ever. That is definitely not something you want to do as a pet owner, somebody that doesn't know what you're doing, etc. And Jeff says, yes, you spent some time in the Keys. I know they can be very feisty. Yes, especially iguanas that have been invasive in Florida and things like that. So unfortunately, these guys have been released into Florida and also escaped into Florida. So what happens sometimes is not always a release situation. A lot of people kind of blame those pet owners and things in Florida for Burmese pythons and green iguanas and other feral animals. Feral just means that they shouldn't be there. They're invasive. They've gone feral, they've gone wild, and they shouldn't be there. Like feral cats, for example. Feral cats are a feral animal that was domesticated, gone feral, invasive species. Shouldn't be there wherever they are, honestly. But the green iguana is not a domestic species, right? But they have gone feral and invasive in places like Florida. So a lot of times what happens is people get blamed for releasing their pet, but more often than not, it's because of hurricanes. So if you don't know, Florida has a lot of hurricanes, and when hurricanes happen, they destroy buildings, and buildings where people have these animals sometimes. So Burmese pythons and iguanas and tegus and other lizards, oh, she's closed her eyes, so cute, that become, they're in those buildings. Those buildings get destroyed by a hurricane, say, or something like that, or a tropical storm. Look how cute, she's so sleepy. She's like, I'm just gonna sleep, that's fine. Okay, she's so funny. She'll probably be awake here in a little bit. She's like, I'm just taking a nap, whatever, mom. She's like, this is boring. Let's shut our eyes together. So cute. What was I saying? Sometimes those buildings get destroyed and the animals escape. And because Florida is such a close resemblance to their natural environment down in the tropics of Central America, they tend to do very, very well. So those species like iguanas, Burmese pythons that live all the way in Asia, but oftentimes are pets and bred, etc. Accidents happen and they get released. I'm not saying that nobody releases their pets, because that certainly does happen too. And you should never, ever, ever release your pet into the wild. I don't care what it is. That is not okay to do ever. Number one, there she is. You're probably releasing a species that doesn't live naturally in that environment, which again is invasive and bad for the other animals. So why is that? Well, a lot of times these invasive species that are from somewhere else and they get put somewhere, they put a lot of pressure on the native wildlife there. So the animals that should be there end up losing their food or getting eaten by these animals. And I'm going to decline this call really fast so I can stay on Instagram. Hey guys, sorry, I got a phone call and I had to decline the phone call. Too bad I can't put my phone on airplane, or else I wouldn't be able to go on to Instagram either. So that's okay. So like I said, these guys, they put a lot of pressure sometimes on the native wildlife, and then they're competing for resources like food, shelter, etc. So a lot of times it puts a lot of pressure. For example, with the Burmese pythons that we were talking about. So Burmese pythons are oftentimes pets. Sometimes breeding facilities or people's homes get destroyed and then the Burmese pythons escape, or some people release them, which is not good. And then they get out into the environment. Burmese pythons are predators, right? All snakes are predators, carnivores, and they might eat things like baby alligators. They might eat juvenile alligators, alligator eggs. They might eat other mammals and things or birds that live there, and then some of those animals disappear. This species is an herbivore, but that means that they're going to be eating all the plants, and where animals that need the plants won't survive. Does that make sense? So yeah. Hello, Ale. Nice to see you. This is our iguana, JoAnna, the iguana. So we're just talking about invasive species a little bit. So long story short, please don't release your pets into the wild. If you need to rehome your pet, you can't take care of them anymore. That does happen from time to time. The best thing to do is to reach out to other people that you think might be a responsible person to take your animal, or reach out to some kind of shelter or etc. You can always, I mean, it's easy nowadays, right? You can reach out on Facebook or the internet in general and just kind of put your feelers out there, and somebody will hopefully take in your animal. I've done that several times, like I just said, with this animal. She's a rescue situation. So she's definitely an animal that needed my help at the time. I believe that with all my heart, and I'm so happy that I did that. I'm so happy I was there at that time. It was definitely meant to be. So what questions do you guys have about the iguana? You guys can ask me any questions that you may have. She is so beautiful. So the green iguana does change color. Her most green area is her belly. Can you see that beautiful belly that she has? Look at her. She's just like, why? But and these guys are beautiful. They'll change a little bit of color from brown to green. So the lighter they are, the more they're trying to reflect sunlight or light in general. And the darker they are, the more they're trying to absorb that light. So usually it's based on their temperature. So if they're feeling a little cold, they'll get darker. That way they can absorb more light and get warmer, right? That makes sense. And then if they're, like I said, it's the opposite. If they're feeling too hot, they'll try to reflect the light with a light green tinge. And they can also change color based on their mood. Usually the darker they are, as a rule of thumb for lizards, the darker they are, the less happy they are, or more moody they are, or maybe a little stressed. But that could just mean that they're cold too. So it just depends on the situation. But most lizards, I say most, but a lot of lizards can change their color, not just like chameleons and things. Iguanas can do that too, so it's pretty cool. They've also got this amazing dewlap, which is this flap of skin right here that I'm shaking around. This dewlap is connected right here by a special bone, which is in the front of it. And she can literally lift that like a finger and kind of expand, or she can put it all the way down like that. She can expand it all the way. It's hard to do while holding her, but she can expand it all. She's like, stop it. She can expand it as well to kind of bring out like the sail of a ship. And that actually is going to give her kind of like a little satellite dish as well. Whoa. To get more sun. She can have more surface area to attract more sun. So there it is right there. I know she's wiggling her arms like crazy. She's a crazy girl sometimes. She's a good girl for an iguana. These guys are just a handful. They're kind of like little monkeys. They're up in the trees. They got crazy arms. They don't really like you. Like, don't get a pet monkey either. They're awful. Thank you for loving her, Samantha. I know you love her. Now, again, these guys are a dimorphic species. Male and female do look very different. Male are going to have a bigger dewlap, that flap here. It's going to be bigger. They have bigger cheek scales, which is that great big round scale right here on the bottom of her cheek there, like kind of where the bottom of your jaw would be. That's where their cheek scale is. The males have huge fat cheeks too, and so do tegus. Tegus are another cool lizard. Both male tegus and male iguanas have those big fat cheeks. That's to survive an attack from another iguana. So when male iguanas meet one another, they're very, very territorial, and they will attack one another usually, unless they back down. So usually they'll kind of like give each other some body language, like bobbing the head. They'll like, hey, come up and grow. You know, who's gonna back away first is what they're kind of trying to see. They might tail whip one another. They might come like running at each other like a bluff or something like that. And if all that doesn't work and they still want to fight and they're both not backing down, then they will attack each other, and that's not good. Male iguanas should never, ever, ever be kept together. Do not keep male iguanas together if you ever have any. I don't recommend anybody having one, but if you happen to have a couple of male iguanas, never put them together. They will fight, and that is very typical. Females usually do okay, but they're most happy kind of being on their own. These guys do okay sometimes in a pair or something like that. Male and female do fine, obviously, because they're probably gonna have babies together. But as long as they have enough space to get away from one another when they want to, they tend to do okay. But in general, being alone is fine. They're not really super social unless it's time for breeding. But my point is, those guys are going to attack one another, and they'll bite. They'll bite right at each other's throats. So the fatter their cheeks and throats, the more likelihood they're going to survive that attack from another male. Ali has a question. Can they swim? Yes, iguanas can swim very well. So we mentioned all their defenses before. I'll go over them once again for those of y'all that missed it. The first defense is going to be the spikes on her back. The spikes on her back might be a good deterrent. Might feel bad to an animal touching her on the back and might tickle their feet or poke their feet. The second defense is going to be their tail. The tail is like a big bull whip. They have a very, very long 4-foot tail or 5-foot tail, depending on the size of your iguana and sex of your iguana. Different genders are larger. Males are larger. They have a larger tail. So that 4 to 5 foot tail is like a bull whip right to the face. We'll whip them in the face. And then the next defense is going to be to bite with their razor sharp teeth. And then their other defense is to scratch with their razor sharp claws, which, by the way, she's had her nail trim and file today, or else she'd be cutting me all up. These guys have razor sharp claws that cut like a knife through butter. Very sharp. And if all those defenses fail, what they'll do is if they see a predator, they will jump out of a tree. They might land in the grass, but more than likely they're going to land in the river. So these guys prefer to roost in the trees above the water. That's going to be their next defense. So they're going to jump into the water. They're going to dive all the way down. They can survive a very long fall. These guys are very, very tough. They can even jump, like I said, onto the grass and be okay too. Very tough. Wouldn't be ideal, but it's to survive, right? It's the wild. And so they'll jump into the river and swim away. These guys can hold their breath for quite a long time. The marine iguana can hold their breath for hours. That is another species that lives in the Galapagos. That's one that Charles Darwin studied. Those guys literally eat plants underwater in the sea. So they can actually, so all iguanas are vegetarian. She's looking up. What are you looking at? There's no birds of prey in here. You're fine. She's like, you're talking about my enemy. But these guys are great swimmers too. They can't hold their breath as long as a marine iguana, but they can hold their breath a long time. And they can swim under the water. They're going to put all their limbs side by side next to their body, and they're going to kind of just swim like a snake. And that's how they swim. Isn't that amazing? And they can get away to the other side of the river or up another tree or wherever they want to go. They're more comfortable in the trees being safe like that. So very, very cool. My favorite feature on iguana, though, is their third eye. What the heck does that mean? Well, iguanas actually have a little tiny scale. Let's see if you can see it. Right in the center of her face, or her head, I should say, on the top in between her eyes. There's a teeny tiny scale, which is clear. And that actually can tell her brain that a bird of prey is flying overhead. Put it down, baby girl. I know. I put you off kilter there for a second. So these guys are going to have that ability to sense shadows flying overhead because of that quote unquote third eye. It's actually just a clear scale on top of their head, but it's still pretty amazing. And they can go fully to sleep and shut their eyes. These guys do sleep in the night, but they also take naps during the day, just like we do. They might be resting in the tree. And she can go to sleep and still have that extra visual sense, if you will. It can send shadows. That's all it can see. It can't like see clear pictures or anything like that, but it's still pretty handy when your main enemies are birds of prey flying overhead. So if she notices that bird of prey before it even gets to her, she might take the option to dive bomb into the river anyway, just as like a way to stay safe from those birds of prey, because birds of prey typically don't hunt animals in the water unless they're an eagle that fishes or something like that, or a hawk or an osprey or something like that. But typically iguanas aren't hunted out of the water unless they're being hunted by like a caiman or a crocodile, I guess, which would be another enemy they have in nature. These guys are from Central and South America, so there are many predators out there that can get them, but that is going to be one way for them to stay safe and get away from those birds. Good question. Jeff is asking, how does she feel about getting her nails trimmed? Do you use clippers or a Dremel? So I use more of a Dremel type situation. I might clip them if they're extra long, but usually I just file them very quickly with a special Dremel that I have that has a light on it and everything. It's pretty cool. It goes pretty quickly. So I just basically cover her up with a little towel and try to work as quickly as I can. She doesn't like it, I'm not gonna lie, but it's very good for her. Those nails grow very quickly. I can definitely not hold her without trimming her nails. And it's over before she knows it. And as you can see, she seems fine afterwards. It just happened not even an hour ago. And then she's nice and healthy. She has healthy nails. The nails are still pretty long though, even with the trim. So the nails are just naturally very long, but they are filed down quite a bit. But no, she doesn't really care for it. I'm not gonna lie. She's not like all about it or anything, but she's such a nice iguana. I don't really worry about it too much after. But I kind of, you know, just like you would do with some dogs that don't care for it, you just kind of get it done quickly and they're fine. But she's not a big fan, I would say. So any other questions about our iguana? You guys have been fantastic so far. Iguanas of this species, the green iguana, are not in danger, which is great. In fact, they are, like I said, an invasive species over in Florida. So definitely not endangered. And they do very, very well out in nature. They're great survivors. They are an egg-laying lizard. Some lizards don't lay eggs, but these guys are a classic egg-laying animal, like you would think of, like a lizard. And what they're going to do is actually bury their eggs in some soil. Now, I would imagine they can't have a nest in the trees like a bird, even though they live in the trees. They're going to come down to lay their eggs and actually bury them. And then the eggs are on their own after that, so hopefully they don't get eaten by anything. But that's the way of nature, right? Sometimes those eggs are a food source for other animals, aren't they? She's like, what? How dare you say that? These guys have amazing senses. Not only do they have that extra kind of third eye on top of their head, they've got great hearing. That is her ear right there. Kind of above that cheek scale we talked about. That's where her ear is. She has 2 ears. It almost looks like a little eardrum on a lizard. She's got great vision. These guys are very visual. They do see color. In fact, some people will use a trick to get a picky iguana, which is not very common, honestly. She's a great eater. But when she's feeling a little picky, or maybe you have an iguana that's ill or something like that, you can actually feed them on a red plate. For some reason, it stimulates them to see that red color, and they're like, ooh, food. And then they kind of just snap into eating. So that might be because these guys really like flowers. So like red hibiscus and pink hibiscus and things like that. That's one of their favorite treats ever. She loves hibiscus flowers when I can get a hold of some. Here at Once in a While, she eats salad and fruits and vegetables, but it's mostly going to be greens. So for these guys, their proper diet consists of dark leafy greens like mustard greens, collard greens, and things like that, dandelion greens, etc. Browse, so natural plants that they would want to eat in nature. I sometimes go collect some of that too. That's really, really good for them because they naturally eat leaves from the trees. When I say browse, that means leaves from trees. That's a zookeeper term, so sorry about that. But they eat that. And she also gets occasional other vegetables like sweet potato, and she really likes yellow squash cut up and small for her. But in nature, they eat leaves, so it has to be cut up pretty small. Not too super small, but like it's easier for them to eat it in little mouth-sized bites. And what does she like to eat? Her favorite, like I said, are the hibiscus flowers. It's the most crazy I've ever seen her go for a food item. But she also really likes bean sprouts. One time I gave her bean sprouts, and I've given her them several times, but the first time she was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So she really liked the bean sprouts. It was very healthy. So she's very, very healthy. It's also important to give them their supplements and vitamins. These guys need their calcium supplements. And they also need vitamins as well, multivitamins. So there's a lot to consider when you have a lizard of any kind, right? But iguanas, again, you have to feed them properly. You have to give them a very big, giant enclosure to live in. They're very active lizards, and, you know, They are awake during the day, always climbing around or sunbathing. You have to give them proper lighting or keep them outside, proper humidity. And these guys don't tend to like humans. They tend to be kind of a defensive and aggressive lizard. So I do not recommend an iguana for literally anyone unless you're a reptile expert or you have a zoo like us or it's a rescue situation, etc. Or maybe you're just stuck with one that a relative gave you or something like that. I understand. But they're not a great impulse buy. No animal should be bought on impulse. You have to do a lot of research and have a lot of room and be prepared for a lot of things that you have to do for them. And they're very messy too. These guys like to poop a lot as well. Being a vegetarian type lizard, they do use the restroom quite a bit. And they usually poop in their water, which is fun. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and let JoAnna rest down below. I think she's been a fantastic animal ambassador today. And don't let her fool you. This is from years of practice and getting to know one another that she's so comfortable. She's not super comfortable with other people. These guys tend to trust one or two people, which is another great thing about them. And I've kind of just learned what works for us to have a working relationship. I wouldn't even say that she really likes me. Some people have said, oh, she really likes you. And I'm like, I don't think so. I really don't. I think she likes her food and she's okay with me. She's like, okay, servant. That's probably what she thinks. But anywho, she's been great. She's a wonderful animal ambassador. I'm really glad to have her as an ambassador for her species because I can educate everybody about them. They're wonderful lizards. And I can't blame her for being what she is. I can't be mad because these iguanas are defensive or at times aggressive. That's just their nature. That's the way they are. So, and she did fantastic. She's going to say goodbye. Look how beautiful she is in this camera. They are just gorgeous. I have to say, iguanas are one of the most underrated type lizards because they're pretty common. People see them all the time and they're like, it's an iguana. But look at this thing. She's amazing. And she's an old woman too. So imagine like in her prime. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to insult. We love you. You're gorgeous. Okay, we're going to let her rest down below just for a little while. And later on, she'll get to go back outside, which is really exciting. I'm going to dip out really quick so I can check my camera. As you guys know that watch me all the time, I have to check my camera's timer. And I'll be right back. Don't you? Okay, guys, you are wonderful and patient as always. Let's go ahead and get back to y'all's comments. Make sure that I didn't miss anybody's comments and questions. You guys are so wonderful for tuning in. You're like family to me now. So good to see everybody. Thank you for saying that I'm awesome and educational. That's my goal. Thank you so much. Like your Chihuahua. Yeah, I don't necessarily recommend Chihuahuas either. They're a specialized critter as well. Chihuahuas, I would say, are probably better pets than iguanas, but that's just my opinion. How many variations of iguanas are there? There's a few. I can't remember how many, but there are several. To my knowledge, I think they're all New World. I'm almost 100% sure that they're all the New World or all the Americas. So the Galapagos would be one of those areas that has iguanas. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they're all New World, and there are several different subspecies of iguanas and species of iguanas, and they live in mostly the tropics and island type areas, things like that. I'm going to look that up later and get back to you. And I think I answered this already, her favorite foods, and thank you for saying bye to her. So let's go ahead and meet a very different animal. Oh, let's check on Instagram. You guys are just watching, no problem. Hello, everyone. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next animal, a very different animal coming up next. I'm sure you're going to like him. And I know you guys that have seen him before really like him. He's one of my favorites. I'm going to get him his little place to sit here. I'm going to change up our banner situation here to this. Get rid of this. How's that? So we have a little bit more area to show him off. Okay, come here, buddy. He's resting down below, so quiet and perfect. Here he is. It's Iggy, the guinea pig. Hello, Iggy. Let me fix your hair, my love. Oh, can you guys not see him? Let's spin down a little bit more. There we go. That's a little bit better. So there's Iggy, our guinea pig. He is so cute. He's one of my favorite animals that we have here at Once in a Wild. So I mentioned earlier that we not only do educational programs, but we also do animal therapy programs. And Iggy is actually one of our animal therapy animals, as well as a petting opportunity animal as well. So you guys can actually book us once we're out in person again for an in-person program. And Iggy is our best guinea pig, in my opinion. He is so good about just sitting there and being loved and pet. And I'm going to give him some treats just for being himself. How's that? So guinea pigs are wonderful animals. So I mentioned that the iguana, of course, is not a great pet for anyone out there, I think. But a guinea pig is a great pet. Look how wonderful he is. Can you guys see him? There we go. A little bit better. Trying to make this work for everybody. There we go. Including him. We gotta make sure he's comfortable too on his little lap of luxury right here. So these guys are wonderful pets. I do recommend guinea pigs to those of you that can take care of them. They are not a low maintenance pet, but they're very, very suited to life with humans because they have been domesticated for such a long time. These guys are one of the longest domesticated rodents, to my knowledge. These guys were domesticated about 9,000 years ago is when they became kind of a common animal, and well, common back then, for the Incas, so out in South America. So let's go backtrack. Guinea pigs have kind of a confusing name because Guinea, right? Guinea is not in South America. Guinea is actually in Africa, and New Guinea is not in South America either. Papua New Guinea is over by Australia. So how the heck did they get called a guinea pig? They're also not a pig, are they? These guys are rodents, like I said. So what classifies a rodent? Are you looking for more snacks? There you go. What classifies a rodent as a rodent? Well, rodents have ever-growing incisor teeth on top and bottom. So their two front teeth here, this is our incisor, the human. Those are your incisors. So he's got two incisors on the top and two incisors on the bottom. And both of those teeth have to be worn down his whole life. He's got a great big space in his teeth here in between all that. In his skull, it's called a diastema. I also have a diastema. That's just a space in your teeth, right? So that classifies him as a rodent. Rodents are mammals. They're in the mammal category, of course, right? You need that. They have hair. They have warm-blooded body temperature. They give milk to their babies. That is a mammal. They're also a vertebrate, right? But a lot of animals are vertebrates, like us. But we're mammals too. We have hair. We give milk to our babies. It's right over here, sweetie. Can you not see because of your hairstyle? Look at your treats. They're right here. Right here. Oh, you're so cute. Take your time, my love. Don't even worry about it. So these guys are rodents. It's classified by their teeth. It's right in that name, rodent. Dent means teeth, that partial word, like you're going to the dentist. That's what dent means. So rodent. So they're a rodent, not a pig, right? You know what a pig is. A pig can be all different kinds of animals, like warthogs, babirusa, potbelly pigs. Those guys are all pigs. So they call them pigs because of the noises that they make. That is the going theory. Again, we don't really know because that term was kind of coined a long time ago. So as far as we know, it's because of their vocalizations. Guinea pigs are one of the most vocal type of rodents you will ever meet. They make really cool noises for communication because these guys are very social. He's very social with me too, but between guinea pigs, they make squealing noises and other noises to communicate with one another. So that squealing probably reminded somebody of a pig, or you found another piece in there. And so guinea pig, but where did the guinea part come from? Well, let's backtrack. So these guys are from South America. And as a South American species, they look nothing like this other than their short stature and the fact that they look like a little cute rodent. So in the wild, these guys were known as the cavy or the cuy out there in South America, and specifically in Peru, I believe. And the Incas started domesticating these guys for food. But the species that they come from is very different looking. It has very short hair. And guinea pigs also, just as a domestic species, also have different lengths of hair and everything too. He's a Peruvian guinea pig breed, so he's got long hair. But the wild cousin of these guys, the cavy, if you will, there's all different kinds of cavies, but we'll just call them cavies. Those guys had short hair, more upright ears, and a little bit longer of legs. and their hair color was kind of a brown and black, kind of like a wild rabbit. So if you look at like a wild cottontail rabbit, their fur color looked just like the animal that I'm talking about, the cavy out there in South America. So those guys were brought in for food. At first they started hunting them, and then they realized they could actually farm them. The Incas did, the indigenous people, of course, down there. They started raising them in their own homes and in their, what do you call it? You know, where they live with them in their homes. Farms, things like that. They would have little groups of them that they would breed. They breed very quickly. These guys have babies a lot, like most rodents. And they live quite a long time for a rodent. These guys, nowadays, their life expectancy is anywhere from 7 to 10, sometimes more. The oldest living guinea pig, I believe, was 14 and a half, which is unheard of. That's like a 110-year-old person or something like that. But they live a lot longer than most rodents do, right? So like rats and things, those guys don't live very long. I say rodents of this a similar size. So some rodents also live longer, but they're larger. I love how he just paused when I said that, like, what? So yeah, these guys are very easy to keep because they're smallish, but they would raise them for food, and then they realized that they were actually great companion animals too, which happens a lot when it comes to having livestock, right? Jump over here so everybody can see you. You're so cute. So those guys were domesticated about 9,000 years ago is when that kind of started. And what happened there with the name? So they started making pig noises. So I guess somebody started calling them piggies, guinea pigs. But the guinea part was actually believed to be because when the Europeans came over to South America and saw that the Incas were raising these guys, they were like, oh, that's kind of cool. Why do you have them? They were like, for food. And they were like, okay. They started actually getting that idea too. They would take some of them, I guess with permission. I don't know if they traded some things for or bought them. I have no idea. I wasn't there. I'm not 9,000 years old. But these guys were taken over from South America to Europe, where they became more common as a pet. I think originally they were kind of a food, like a maybe a food source, but I think people were like, but they're so cute and they're not that much food on their bones. So like, why don't we just keep them for cute little pets? So rich people started keeping them. They started breeding them for different colors and coat lengths and things, just like dogs. And what they would do is they would sell them for 1 guinea. 1 guinea was a type of currency. A guinea is a currency in Europe back then. I don't know if it is anymore. I doubt it. But 1 guinea was very cheap. So they could buy a guinea pig for 1 guinea. So I think they just started calling them guinea pigs. Somebody started calling them pigs because of the noises. And then guinea came from how much they cost. Does that make sense? It's a long explanation for something so simple. So sorry about that. I know, our next animal is ready to come out too. But Iggy is a Peruvian guinea pig. There are, I think, 13 or 14 species. Oh, sorry, not species. 13 or 14 breeds of guinea pig. There are several species of cavies, which are the wild cousins of these guys. Unfortunately, the cavy that these guys come from originally does not exist anymore. Those guys went extinct a long time ago, probably because of over-domestication and over-harvesting and things like that. But there are many, many similar species still out there in the wild that exists in South America. What questions do you guys have about the guinea pig? Samantha's saying hi to you, Iggy. And she should. You're so cute. Look at those lips. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Guinea pigs are great pets. They are really personable. They don't really bite. They can bite because they have a mouth with teeth in it, right? But they're not inclined to bite. That's not going to be their main defense in nature. Their main defense is to run away. So that is going to be the main challenge that you have with having guinea pigs, is just getting them used to human contact and not being nervous around you. So you kind of have to earn their trust. The best way to do that is with food. These guys are amazing eaters. That's their lot in life. They love food. That is their love language, is just feeding them lots of snacks. These guys also can learn to enjoy human contact and cuddles and scratches and things and just your general company. But these guys are very social, so that helps you, number one, because just like dogs are social, they tend to want social time with their owners. Guinea pigs can too, but guinea pigs do definitely need a companion guinea pig. So typically, you shouldn't have 1 guinea pig. Sometimes there's an exception for guinea pigs that just don't get along with other guinea pigs. It happens. That's like a dog that just doesn't like other dogs. It happens. But even more so than dogs, because dogs can kind of learn to have humans as their companion as opposed to another dog, as long as you give them enough time and exercise and things. Guinea pigs really can't trade another guinea pig for a human, if that makes sense. So it's really not a great thing to have a lonely guinea pig by himself. he was actually a lonely guinea pig that I adopted from somebody because they wanted him to have companions. And I'm so glad I did because he's so wonderful. See if he'll purr for you guys. You hear him purring? That's one form of communication they use is their purring sounds. You hear that? It's so cute. He likes his scratches. He's my friendliest guinea pig. Oh, he's just like vibrating off the table. He's purring so loud. Aw. These guys really do need a guinea pig companion, though. That's my point. These guys are very social. In nature, they're going to live in little herds together. So males are called boars, just like pigs are called boars if they're male. And females are called sows, just like a female pig is called a sow. That's what they're called. And they usually live in groups of up from 8 to 10, and usually one male to a bunch of females. So they have like a harem situation. So they're going to have lots of girlfriends. And that's how they prefer it. But in our care, since they are domesticated, they do okay with other males too. So I've actually got a male guinea pig because I'm not interested in having any babies. I'm not a guinea pig breeder, so we're not going to do that. We're going to adopt. If we, we're not going to adopt anymore, but we're not going to breed them, right? So I'm not a breeder. I recommend that you guys adopt your guinea pigs instead of shopping for guinea pigs because tons of them get abandoned, just like the iguana sometimes. Look how cute he is. Who would not want one? I do really recommend the Peruvians. They're so friendly. He's my friendliest by far. I've got 3 different breeds and 4 different individuals. 2 are Abyssinians. 1 is an American, and he's a Peruvian, and he's the friendliest. And he's so cute. Look at him. Just went into a trance. But I recommend looking for some that need homes because there's a lot that need homes. Like he needed a home. He was a rehomed guinea pig. I don't know why anybody would ever give him up because he's wonderful. But it was just a situation they were in, and I can't blame them. They did the right thing by looking for a good home for him, right? And I'm so happy they did. You're so sweet. But you should always have at least 2. They need that other kind of guinea pig to feel safe. They are herd animals, and they're also prey animals. So these guys don't really do well alone. They tend to stress out and think that they're going to get eaten by things. You have an itch on the other side? Let everybody see your pretty face and eat your treats. Why don't you eat your treat? You don't want that? What? Don't scoot off the table. I won't let you. Why don't we scoot up a little bit? There you go, buddy. Do you want some more treats? What about these? What do you think? There's some pellets for you. They like their pellets too. Yum. So yeah, they are very social. They do benefit from having the company of other guinea pigs. They're herd animals, so that is just best for them. And of course, there's always exceptions. If you just want one guinea pig, go to adoption agency, and some of them do have single guinea pigs that just don't get along with other guinea pigs. That might be an option for you. But they do say and recommend that, and the experts say this, that you should at least have 2 guinea pigs that can see each other for them to be happy. So it would be like in 2 different enclosures. Speaking of enclosures, so at least they have that like companionship through talking to each other and seeing one another. So that's like what they recommend at the very least, if not living together. 2 males is fine. You can have 2 females. 2 females do really well too. If you don't know what you're doing, I wouldn't breed them. So you don't want to have either gender, both genders, I mean, together, or else you get babies. These guys breed very readily. Are very, very well developed when they're babies. Unlike most rodents, if you know anything about rats and mice, they are born and they're hairless, they're blind, they're deaf, and they rely totally on their parents. These guys are born with eyes open, ears open, and fully full of hair. They're all over, they have all their hair as soon as they're born, which is really weird. And so that's what we call precocial. They're precocial when they're born as opposed to altricial, which means that they're very, very underdeveloped. Precocial means the opposite. Hey, those of you on Instagram, we're going to get cut off here in 2 minutes. I'll just start over and we'll continue on another live stream. How about that? Don't you worry. We won't leave you guys out. I always try to include everyone. So yeah, so they are readily breed, and they can actually breed as soon as 3 weeks old. So they're born very developed. And usually 3 to 5 weeks is when they can start having children of their own. So once that happens, they're ready to make more, and that's not a good situation. So I wouldn't recommend having a male and a female together ever. Is that arugula? It's a green mix. It's like a dark greens mix from HEB, the store that I go to. I don't think so. It might be. I don't really know. Maybe it was. He ate it so fast I didn't even pay attention. But yeah, he apparently doesn't want this. So I'm going to take this away from this one. Very picky. He likes his pellets better, I suppose. Maybe I'll give him some more of that. There you go, buddy. Picky, picky, picky. He's actually not that picky. Maybe he's just full. That's fine. Any other question? He is such a cutie. I agree. And Iggy is so cute. Oh my gosh, I love him. So these guys do make wonderful pets, though. They are not, I would say, not a low maintenance pet. They are very messy. You have to clean them up every single day. They do go to the restroom a lot. They do need a lot of space. So the bigger the enclosure you can make for them, the better. I say make because I do recommend for these guys you make your own enclosure as opposed to buying one that's already made, because those cages tend to be way too small. So the best thing you can do is look up how to make a guinea pig cage. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier than you may think, and it's actually really fun. You can do like different shapes and things for these guys and give them a lot more room. All right, I'm gonna end our live stream on Instagram and then start over there. Yes, we are going to do that. And I don't know if my live stream got saved just now. I apologize for you Instagrammers out there. So we're just gonna go live again. Hopefully that worked. Hey guys, we're just starting over here on Instagram. This is Amanda with Once in a Wild. We're continuing our live stream here on Instagram as well as Facebook and YouTube if you're interested. We have a comment right here. Donna says, is that his quarantine hairstyle? Kind of. He does have a longer coat. So this is kind of his naturally grown out hair. And you can give them a little trim if you want to, if you have a long coated guinea pig, but I love his hair and I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to brush it out as he needs it. The longer the coat, the more maintenance it is, but it's really not that bad. I brush him like once a day, maybe, if it needs it kind of thing. And I give him a bath about once or I would say 3 times a month or something like that when he needs it to. Give him a little bath. He does really well with it. He's no trouble at all. Much easier than a dog to do. And thank you, Donna, for tagging your friends in this live stream. If you guys want to tag your friends, you can do so too. What other questions do you guys have about Iggy the guinea pig? Like I said, I do have 4 guinea pigs, so Iggy does not live alone. Like I said, they do much better in groups because, again, they are a prey animal. So what does that mean? That means that they get eaten by other animals. So out there in South America, where these guys are from naturally, not the domestic one, but the wild guinea pig, so their instincts are still there, even though they're domesticated now. Look at his cute mohawk that he has. He's so cute. They're going to be a prey animal. So living in a group together is going to be much safer for them in the long run, right? And it's going to make them feel a lot less stressed, even though they're safe in our care, right? They don't have any predators to worry about usually. They're going to be stressed out naturally as a prey animal. If they don't feel comfortable in a big enough group situation, they won't be comfortable. That's not right. So the recommendation is to at least have 2 together that can see one another. So even the guinea pigs that don't get along, they should still have like kind of a situation where they can see another guinea pig or hear them, etc. And sometimes guinea pigs don't get along, just like some dogs don't get along. But unlike dogs, they really do need that company. You're so sweet. So again, I recommend always going to like kind of a rescue situation. There's all kinds of guinea pig rescues. You can call your local humane society too and see if there's any guinea pigs that need homes. You can always check out all kinds of resources online, maybe groups on Facebook, etc. There's all kinds of things you can do nowadays. Pretty cool. And Iggy is wonderful. Like I said, he participates in animal therapy. So he's very, very good at sitting in laps and just being loved and pet and scratched. As you can see, he doesn't mind. So he's very therapeutic for me as well as other people. And as you guys may know, those of you that have pets at home right now, those pets mean a lot to us, don't they? Because they're keeping us kind of sane right now. They're keeping us from going crazy. But it's true. These guys are very, very therapeutic for us. Animals can be great therapy, can't they? So once we're out and about again, let's see if he wants his greens again. Now that you've had pellets, do you want greens anymore? Try it. I don't know. Is that arugula? Whatever it was, he really liked it. Is it? I don't know what that is. It's just a mixed green. Not that I don't know what I'm giving my animals, but I know this is a safe mixed greens. He gets dark greens, leafy greens like this. But most of their food is actually hay. So out there in nature, these guys eat grass. That's going to be their main diet. So in human care, they should also have a grass type diet. So they're constantly grazing. These guys are grazing animals and they don't sleep very much. These guys are crepuscular in the wild, but in your home, they're going to adapt to whatever schedule is best for you. And then they kind of just go with it. But they don't really sleep very long. These guys are awake about 20 hours a day and they take naps throughout the day. But in nature, they're going to be crepuscular, which means they're active during dawn and dusk. And that is for safety purposes because of predators. Oh, look at that little scratch. So cute. That's going to be their natural tendency is to do that. But typically they're going to be kind of up and down, but awake about 20 hours. So during their awake time, they're typically always eating. They like their snacks. And hay should always be available to them for them to eat. And that is Timothy hay or orchard hay. That's the kind of hay that they get, not like coastal hay and things. That goes for rabbits too. Rabbits need that too. And another thing that the hay does for them is it actually helps them to wear their teeth down. Remember, they're rodents, so their teeth are always growing. And if they aren't naturally wearing their teeth down through their food or through enrichment items like wooden items and things to chew on, their teeth will grow too long and then they'll get tooth issues. So their teeth are kind of like this. They have two incisors on the top and two incisors on the bottom, and they wear each other down when they eat. And then they eat the proper things that they eat. So cute. And if they grow too long, they might grow like this and grow like kind of out of their mouth, and it's a bad situation. They get really uncomfortable. That's really important for them to have 80% or more hay and always have hay available. These guys are also prone to getting fat, so we don't feed them too many pellets or treats. The pellets that they get have vitamin C in them, so it's very important for guinea pigs to have pellets of some kind. And guinea pig pellets have to be specifically made for guinea pigs with vitamin C in them, or you have to supplement them yourself with vitamin C. So it's easier to just give them like an Oxbow brand of guinea pig diet, which is the best brand. Very readily available at your pet store as well. That's what you want to give guinea pigs. And like I said, lots of room. These guys are very active. They don't sleep very much. And keeping more than one is always the thing you should do. So having more room is better. Also want to have lots of hiding options for them since they are prey. Their natural way to stay safe in the wild would be to run and hide. These guys live all over different areas of South America. So depending on where they're from is going to be their lifestyle. And again, there's different subspecies of these guys. The cavy is what they're called in the wild again. And the original one where the guinea pig came from no longer exists in the wild. They went extinct a long time ago. Have that piece, buddy. But there's other ones that are similar, like I said, and depending on where they're from is how they're going to live. They might live underground. They might just live on the surface or the grassland and things like that, or in the forest. And wherever they can find shelters where they're going to go hide. I think we should brush you. What about that? Wouldn't that be cute? Brush your little hair. Can we brush him? Aw. And that's going to make them feel safe if they have somewhere to hide. That's my point. What point was I trying to get at, Iggy? I get so distracted by our cute animals that I forget what I was saying. Oh, he's so cute. Don't you guys love him? He's wonderful. Well, if we don't have any questions or comments about Iggy, I might just move on to our next animals. Ooh, I gave it away that there's more than one. So today we have 3 species, but we have 2 more animals to meet. If you guys are ready. And Iggy is wonderful. Again, the green iguana, terrible pet. Guinea pigs, great pets as long as you meet their needs. Whatever pet that you decide to bring into your home or whatever animal companion you decide to bring into your home, you must do your research, whether it's a reptile, whether it's a fish, whether it's a dog or a cat or another small mammal, a rodent or something like that. All those animals deserve the best life you can give them. So you want to do all your proper research. You want to have a veterinarian that's ready to go in case you have an emergency. That's very important as well. You can't just take these guys to like regular cat and dog vets sometimes. You might have a vet that sees both cats and dogs and exotics, but you want to have an exotics type vet, even though these aren't necessarily an exotic animal, they're domesticated, but they still require an exotic vet or a vet that has seen guinea pigs. Guinea pigs are different than dogs and cats. That's one thing that you need to have ready. You need to do all your research on the proper diet for them and proper enclosures and things. Do all of your research before you bring an animal into your life. And remember, these guys are a commitment. So guinea pigs live from 7 to 10 years, maybe more. They might even live up to 14 years. Like I said earlier, the oldest living guinea pig, I think, was 14 and a half. So that's really long. So my point is these guys are not just like an impulse buy. They're not a toy. Same thing goes for rabbits. Rabbits live a comparable lifespan to a guinea pig too. So, and they're wonderful animals and they deserve the best life they can get. So please don't impulse buy one. Please don't buy one just from a pet store if you can help it. You want to adopt if you can, right? Because a lot of these guys get purchased and then they change their mind and they get abandoned, unfortunately. So that is my recommendation there. Do they get along with dogs? I wouldn't put guinea pigs and dogs together unless your dog is just an angel that just wouldn't harm a fly. Because guinea pigs, remember, are prey and dogs are predators. That's a good question, though. It kind of just depends. I would never, ever leave dogs unattended with guinea pigs or any sort of animal like that because these guys are prey. And also the guinea pig is going to be he's coming towards me for scratches, in case you're wondering what's happening. Guinea pigs are prey. They're food animals, so they're going to stress out quite a bit if they're around dogs and unsupervised and things. Some dogs are great. I don't think my dog would harm them, but I don't let them play together or anything like that either. We're very careful. They have their own space. All of our animals have their own space. Some of them do mingle together from time to time, depending on the animals. Of course, the guinea pigs mingle together with each other because that's what they do. They're social with each other. We have birds that mingle together. We have a rabbit that mingles with the birds, as you might have seen in one of our other programs. He's kind of been accepted as a bird now. Or, yeah, the birds have accepted him into the flock. But those are both prey animals and not predators. So we just want to use our common sense, right? Always use your common sense. Don't ever let cats play with guinea pigs either. Cats are very, very good predators at hunting rodents. And so are dogs sometimes. So it really just depends. Good question. You always want to use your common sense and be safe about it, okay? And once again, this is Amanda with Once in a Wild. If you guys are just joining us, this is Iggy. We're getting ready to say see you later to Iggy. It sounds like our next animals are very eager to come out, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the chance to do so. Iggy's been a wonderful animal ambassador, as always. He is just wonderful. This is his little kind of pillow that we take him around in sometimes. Guinea pigs really bond with you really well during lap time. So a lot of times guinea pigs are scared to be picked up. But if you put them in like a little pillow or a little kind of something like this is just like a fancy bath mat, they do really well because they feel a little bit more secure. I think guinea pigs are just scared to be picked up because their natural instinct is they're getting picked up by a bird of prey or something. You're all right, making noises. So we're going to go let him rest down below. Bye, buddy. But that's a great tool to kind of bond with your guinea pig to make them feel a little bit more secure around you. They do really well kind of sitting in your lap or like on top of something like this. And you just kind of love on them, give them treats, make them feel nice and safe, etc. Like nothing bad's going to happen to them. So I'm really excited about our next animals, but I do apologize ahead of time if it doesn't work out because this is their very first time in the studio. So we're going to give it a shot. We brought 2 out of 4 of these animals that I have. So I have 4 total of this animal here at Once in a Wild, but I brought a couple of them to try out. If it works out, then who knows, maybe we'll bring 4 next time. Let me just get all ready. Let's see here. Angle this up again because we're not going to be, I don't think we're going to be down here. We're going to be here. So let's try it. Make sure I answered everybody's questions first. And one more moment. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, are you ready for this? This is going to be a bit of a training session with these animals. And I appreciate anybody's patience, everybody's patience, as always, with us and with our animals. We're going to give this a shot. So what we're going to meet right now, hopefully, is 2 of our African ring-necked doves. So the ring-necked doves that decided to come with us today, I gave them the option to come or not, are Sharon and Kelly. So Sharon is mom and Kelly is son. So let's see how they do. I'm going to show them the food here. Looks like they're pretty excited. So for doves, they are seed eaters. I'll show you their food first. They've got a little bowl of seeds and things. It looks like they're really excited to come out. So let's just go for it. Does want to come out? So I'm going to let them go at their own pace. And they've never been in this room before. Turn her around. Ooh, beautiful. Let's fix her tail there. So this one right here, this is Sharon. The one that just with her wings there. And this is Kelly. So all of our ring-necked doves that we have 4 of them. Their names are Sharon, Ozzy, Jack, and Kelly. You guys know that theming. Tell me. You're just as nerdy as we are when it comes to music. And they are African ringneck doves. So these two are actually not the color that they would naturally be in the wild. So African ringneck doves are from Africa. And they are a direct relative of like our doves here in North America, if you're from the US or anything like that. Mourning doves and white-winged doves, those guys are the same species to my knowledge. And mourning doves are almost the same as African ringneck doves. These are just the African variety, right? That's pretty cool. Let's make sure you guys on Instagram can see them. Aren't they beautiful? So I give them the opportunity to come work with me. I don't force them to do anything in programs, especially here in new situations like the studio. They were in another program one time online here that we did in their room, but I decided to give them a chance to come out today and see you guys. Pretty amazing. I'm going to keep it nice and probably short as long as they want to be out here, and then we'll let them go rest. What questions do you guys have about them? You guys are very, very quiet today. There's a nice little dove emoji. Yes. So these guys aren't the natural color that they are in the wild. I do have one ringneck dove. His name is Ozzy. He is the daddy dove. I have mama and son here. We also have another child dove, 4 total. So 1 mated pair and 2 babies that have grown up now. And now they look the same as mom and dad, pretty much. But these 2 here are special coloration, which is a lot less colored than the wild version. The wild version would have a ring neck, just like the ringneck dove name says, African ringneck dove. Have a beautiful black thing on the back of their neck. That's what Ozzy looks like. So if he had come out today, you would have seen him. Maybe next time. These guys are a special coloration bred in the care of humans. They have much lighter feathers, as you can see, and much lighter feet. The feet of a wild ringneck dove are bright red. The eyes of a wild ringneck dove are bright red too. Their eyes are much paler. These guys still have kind of a reddish tinge to their eye too. Now out in the wild, these guys are beautiful as well. I think gorgeous. Love doves. All kinds of doves are beautiful, right? And they are seed eaters. These guys are another prey animal, just like the guinea pig. Guinea pigs are prey. They're food for other animals. Doves are prey or food for other animals for sure. Doves have almost no defenses whatsoever. Guinea pigs at least have a little bit of a mouth to bite with. The dove has one of the most benign beaks in all of the birds, most benign beaks in nature. They have a very tiny beak that is pretty much incapable of defense whatsoever. And they are designed for eating tiny little seeds like grass seeds and things. And they are literally food for other animals. They have no claws for defense. They have very, very kind of not impressive nails. They're beautiful birds, though. They have beautiful red feet, like I said. But they have very little means of staying safe from predators other than staying in big groups. So sometimes these guys will live in pairs, so 2 together. Sometimes they'll live in family groups, so however many babies they have, and then they kind of just stick together with one another for safety. But when they're going to come down like for water to a river to drink some water, or when they're going to come down to the grass and eat grass seeds, they prefer to be with other birds. So they will kind of flock together with other groups of ringneck doves, or they'll flock together with other species too, because the more numbers they have, the more safe they're going to feel, right? Because safety in numbers is definitely a big factor when you're a prey animal. When you're a prey animal with very little defense like them, they're just a tiny little bird with no sharp claws and no sharp beak to bite with. They have no defenses other than to be wary and looking around all the time like they're doing now, right? Or to be with a big group. So if you live in a group of 100 other doves, you don't have to be the fastest dove in the world, just faster than your other 100 friends. Or 99 friends, right? So you just need to be a little bit faster than the last dove behind you. So that is the way of nature. These guys are food for other animals. So what is their predator? Well, they live in Africa. So there's a lot of predators in Africa. In fact, Africa has more predators than any other continent on the face of the earth. So they have a lot against them. One main predator is going to be smaller cats like caracals. Yes, caracals, and which is a type of like a bobcat looking cat in Africa. I went blank for a minute. Caracals, servals, African servals, smaller cats like that. Hunt birds a lot. In fact, those cats are capable of jumping straight into the air to grab birds out of the sky when they're flying. So pretty amazing. So I've got a question here on Instagram. I'm going to slowly move my hand so I don't spoof my birds. How long has this been on? We started at 3:30 and we restarted on Instagram because Instagram cuts me off in an hour. And these guys are African ringneck doves. We have Kelly and Sharon today. We also have Ozzy and Jack too. The four Osborns, right? Good job, girls. Thank you for the encouragement. They're doing really well. Although this one of them is a boy. I know his name is Kelly, but Kelly can be boy or girl, right? So we have mom and son out here. But thank you for saying that, Donna. Very sweet. Aren't they beautiful? They're so soft. Now, my doves are not tame doves. I say they're semi-tame. They were not hand-raised. So the doves that I got, they were not hand-raised. They were raised around people and, you know, kept in care of humans for a while, but they were not directly hand-fed or anything like that. So they're still a little bit leery to be like touched and pet. But they are so soft. Their feathers are really, really soft. Sometimes I bring feathers to our programs to let people touch the feathers. They're just beautiful. I love them. They're pleasant birds to have around. The males will sing to their females, and these guys typically mate for life. They are a monogamous species unless one of their mates passes away. Then they'll kind of move on to another mate. But these guys are also prolific breeders, and they co-parent, which means both parents will sit on the eggs, and both parents will actually feed the babies equally. So mom and dad take turns sitting on their 2 eggs that they have, and those eggs hatch in about 2 weeks. It's 14 to 16 days for this species. And then when those eggs hatch, those babies are very, very underdeveloped. So opposite of the guinea pig is very developed when they're babies, right? Like I said, they have hair, their eyes are open, ears are open, everything. Are you going to fly away? You're going to stay here with me. That would be nice if you stayed here. Just looking around all over the place. Yes. Mama dove, Sharon dove is looking around. So they are very, very, they're featherless, naked when they're born. They can't see, I think they can hear, and they can feel, obviously. But these guys are very underdeveloped, fully reliant on their parents. Both parents, like I said, do raise them and feed them and sit on the eggs and then sit on the babies until they're feathered. And it only takes about 4 weeks for them to grow up. So their cycle is very, very very quick. They will breed, and then they will usually have an egg very quickly after they breed, and then that egg takes only 2 weeks to hatch, and then that baby is almost fully grown in 4 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks is how long it takes for them to grow up. Isn't that amazing? But if you are a prey animal with no defenses, and your only defense is to fly away or live with a big group, it is very, very smart for you to be a species that develops quickly. If you are a baby for a year, like us, right? Like humans are babies forever. We're babies for years and years. If you were a baby dove for a year, you would be eaten by other animals, more likely. These guys are also prolific breeders. Not only do they co-parent and make the babies together and raise the babies together and do everything together, it's really sweet. They will also keep having babies as long as resources are okay. Because again, they're prey animals. So they want to have as many offspring as they possibly can to keep the species around. That is what they do. Kind of like rodents and things that have a lot of babies. These guys don't really have a breeding season. They will breed almost all year as long as resources are good. Did you guys know that birds are very lightweight? These guys don't even weigh 1 pound. They're very, very light. And that is because they have feathers instead of hair. They have less internal organs than mammals do. For example, birds do not have a bladder. Birds will use the restroom whenever they can because it helps them to keep nice and lightweight to be able to fly, right? We're talking about flying birds, by the way, not penguins and ratites and things that can't fly, like ostriches and things. So they have less internal organs, like no bladder. They only have the internal organs that they need. And they also do not breathe with their lungs. They do have lungs, but they breathe instead with an air sac system, which is throughout their body cavity. And that air sac is full of air, obviously, and that's how they breathe. It helps them to breathe very efficiently and also to be very lightweight because lungs are heavy. Okay, so she's starting to look around a little nervously, so I'm going to ease them into going back to their temporary enclosure over here to make sure that they're nice and safe here in the studio, and I'm going to let them finish their food over there in safety. And they did really well. I'm so happy that I gave that a try today. Well, you guys have been fantastic, and I'm sorry we had to end our animal portion there, but sometimes our animals start to tell us that, you know, it's time to stop. It's hard to explain, but when you've been working with doves for so long and you kind of read their body language, she was just ready to kind of, you know, like, wait, I'm not eating anymore. I'm looking around. Where am I? They've never been in this room before. They've been in their temporary enclosure right here, which is just a travel enclosure that they have here, looking around and getting used to things. So that's why I saved them for last, and I'm so glad I did. You guys have been fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and close our program. Again, this is Amanda with Once in a Wild. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we are doing our live streams every Monday and Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, 3:30 is when we began. And we can see you over on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And we do that every Monday and Friday until further notice. So we'll see you guys again on Friday. In the meantime, please feel free to call me for your Zoom room animal encounter. And Ricardo, I miss you too. It's nice to see you on here as well. Please feel free to call me. And I'm going to put this back up really fast. Ta-da! Please feel free to call or text or email me anytime for your Zoom room animal encounter. Please feel free to schedule that and we will get that going for you. Those are custom encounters that you can book with us on Zoom, and you can pick the animals that attend and the duration of time that you hire me for. It's been really fun, and I hope to see you guys again on Friday here on live stream, and we'll go ahead and end with our song and credits that we usually do. Let me get that going. Oh, nope. There we go. Sorry, there's a few steps I have to go through first. Bam. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys. We'll see you next at 3:30 Central. Oh, my goodness. What am I doing? We'll see you next time at 3:30 Central here on Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.